Hello and welcome to week 12 in Introduction to Sociology, and we're a little bit behind on the schedule, so going into this week, I'm going to speed things up a little bit. We're going to start by reviewing the chapter that was supposed to be last week, and that is on marriage and family. And I had neglected to include in the timeline that there actually is a quiz associated with this. Many of you probably knew that. Many of you were sparing me my embarrassment by not pointing it out. That's perfectly fine. There is a quiz for chapter 14. And the quiz is actually, because we're going to be talking about family rituals, family events that occur that play a role in the transmission of cultural values, norms, expectations, and whatnot from generation to generation. Often these rituals promote those values. However, our global pandemic has disrupted some of that. So what I'm going to be asking you to do in this quiz, and we'll talk about it in class, is to discuss what rituals and events have been disrupted in your lives, in your family, because of the pandemic, and what did you do about it? The lessons still need to be taught. Did they get put off? Did you have a Zoom meeting to try and make it work that way? Did you say, screw it, we're getting together anyway? Kind of discussing the impact that the pandemic has had on those rituals. We will revisit this again if you think about schools. Also, a lot of people missed their senior graduation and missed that event that demarcated a transition from one status to the next. And it's had a pretty profound effect on people. I've had them in my class and actually have had some personal communications with people just sitting there talking about it and how disappointed they are, growing up waiting for that day, and then that day couldn't happen. And that's affects the way that doesn't necessarily disable us in any way, but it certainly sets us back where we have to revisit, how do I now make that transition still meaningful? Okay, so we're also going to be talking about religion and education, and I'm going to combine these because, well, actually, in one of the textbooks that I used to use, it used to be the same chapter. It was religion and education grouped together because both are institutions that are outside of the family, preparing us for life. So religion takes on the idea of preparing us to live a life in accordance to those norms, expectations, and values, and education essentially does the same thing. Both basically have a dogma. The word dogma is the message. That has sort of a negative connotation to it because, dogma is negative and there's science facts and all that stuff. But we all live by dogmas. We all have chosen and selected and also they've been put upon us by the systems that we've engaged in. So we're going to be looking at those too. There is going to be a pretty good discussion about education related to KVCC and your personal experience here at KVCC. For the religion one, there's going to actually also be a quiz. And one of the things that we're going to examine about religion is it divides the world into things that are sacred and things that are secular. Sacred meaning deep spiritual meaning, secular meaning of the world, and we'll discuss that difference. And what I'm asking you to do in terms of material culture, in terms of an object in your life, are there sacred objects? Now, they may be sacred objects that are associated with your religion, but they also may be sacred objects such as the picture of your grandmother. Things that are very, very important to you in a very deep symbolic manner, but it is still a physical object. So we're going to have a discussion about that, and then going into education. See if we can get through these 3 topics this week. We'll probably spend Tuesday talking about marriage and family, getting into that, and then kind of the prequel to religion and education, maybe getting a little bit into that on Tuesday and then finishing that up on Thursday. So an exciting week in Intro to Sociology. Looking forward to seeing you, and have a great week.